Today I'm going to show you an easy, quick recipe to make some of my favorite scrolls. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is pour in half a cup of milk, and I'm going to break an egg into it and give that a beat. Now I will use that mixture for my scrolls, but I'll leave a little bit behind for glazing. In a bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of self-raising flour. That will be our racing agent instead of a yeast. For my shortening today, I'm using Nutlex, 50 grams, roughly about 3 tablespoons should do the trick. 2 teaspoons of sugar to keep our dough nice and sweet, and a heaped teaspoon of cinnamon. Beautiful. Let's rub that in the mixture. Milk and egg mixture in. Remember leaving a little bit for glazing, so that should be about right. Using a knife will cut through the dough a lot quicker and make sure the ingredients are combined. As you can see, a nice soft dough is starting to form. When our dough's formed into a bit of a ball, it'll still be a bit wet. That's when we need to flour our board, and then we're just going to knead and pat for a little while until it's not too wet and not too dry. That's about perfect. We're going to set that to the side to rest. Now for our filling, I'm going to put in 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar. We're going to add 2/3 of butter, 1/3, 2/3, a heaped teaspoon of cinnamon, and using a wooden spoon, we're going to cream our butter and sugar. This is a bit tricky, so you've got to start off by pressing it together, and then slowly we're going to start beating. Can you see how that's starting to come together and form a buttery consistency? Now next, we get our dough, and what we want to do, spread the flour a little bit so it doesn't stick to the board, and we're going to pat it into a bit of a square, probably more like a rectangle than a square. So first we're going to spread our mixture on top and make sure that we do that evenly in a minute. So here's a little tip, use a wet knife and you won't get that mixture sticking to it. We're going to sprinkle our apples on top and make sure that they're evenly divided. Look, you could bake it just like that, but we will stick to our original idea. I like to use plenty of apple. Now the trick here is to roll it slowly and carefully to form a roll. You can press because you're pressing all the air out as you turn it around. Just like tucking a baby into its bed with a nice warm blanket. We're going to pour a little bit more flour on top to make sure it doesn't stick, and roll it a little bit, pushing the sides. Using a sharp knife, we're going to cut our scrolls into about 1.5 inches thickness. We're going to put our scrolls on the pan and just press them down a little bit. Normally I'd use a pastry brush to glaze my scrolls, but hey, we're out in the bush. I'm just going to use my fingers, just getting a bit of that mixture of egg and milk and just patting a little bit on top, which is going to make them nice and golden and shiny. Okay folks, these are ready to go in the oven. It's been 20 minutes. They look golden brown. I think they're ready. They look great. Now I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of icing sugar over the top to finish the look. How great do they look?